Yeah, hello everyone, Nervin Rex here, and welcome back to another video. So, I'm very excited because just a few days ago I saw that Oversimplified finally released part 3 of his second Punic War series. So, yeah, I'm really excited. However, it's 49 minutes long, so I'll probably cut this into 2 parts. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get to it, shall we? Because I'm really tired, so yeah.
Head over to the merch store to pick up some character pins, calendars, and more. Also, ever needed to enact vengeance on your enemies, but always felt too shy? Well, fear not. Little Hannibal is here.
Oh, that's cute. Good for them.
Support our channel by heading over to Oversimplified.youtube.com and buying your very own pocket-sized piece of vengeance. Our exclusive Hannibal figure is in limited supply, so get it quick.
Ooh, nice recap. Yep, reasonable reaction.
How do you solve a problem like Hannibal? In a crisis such as this, the Romans often turn to religion. What's going on? Are the gods mad at us? The gods must be mad at us! But why? Why? No, why? 2 of the Vestal virgins broke their sacred oath and lost their virginity. That's why Hannibal's kicking our ass. What should we do with them? Appease the gods! Bury them alive!
Wait,
Why
what?
did they even boink? It was those guys! Huh? What should we do with them? Beat them to death! Needless to say.
Fascinating thing about the Vestal Virgins. If you go to Rome today, you can actually visit the forum where the temple where the Vestal Virgins work 24/7. The Vestal Virgins were really important in Rome, a group of religious figures in Roman society. Their job was to maintain the eternal flame of Rome 24/7 and making sure it doesn't go out, because they believed that the flame was the embodiment of Rome itself, and that should it go out, Rome will also go out with it. So yeah, and so if any of the Vestal Virgins broke any of their sacred oaths, the punishment was being walled up or buried alive. So yeah.
Say, the Romans were freaking out. Okay, now that that's out of our system, let's go find a real solution. The real solution, first of all, involved raising a new army. Remember, at Cannae, Hannibal had wiped out the biggest army Rome had ever fielded. Possibly 20% of Rome's military-aged men. Rome needed to replace those...
Yeah, which was around 18 to 50 years old. And imagine if that were even into... If this were to happen to modern militaries, it would be just as devastating. 20% may not be a huge number, but it's still pretty devastating. If this had happened to any other nation during that era, they would have definitely sued for peace. And I bet you that if this also happened to any other nation in the modern era and today, they would also sue for peace. But no, Rome's different. So yeah.
Bosses, and fast, before Hannibal arrived at their gates. But where would those replacements come from? Rome had a few ideas. Quick! Lower the age of conscription! You! Put down those Digimons! You're a soldier now! Enlist all these slaves with the promise of freedom! And equip them with all these religious weapons and armor! Anything we've got! All right, men. You are Rome's last line of defense. Man the walls! After the earth-shattering defeat at Cannae, the Romans expected Hannibal to arrive at their gates any day now. In Hannibal's camp, the mood was triumphant. We did it! We won! So when do we march on Rome? Today? I'm free in 10 minutes. Whoa, slow down. We're not going to Rome. We're staying right here.
Yeah, this is a pretty controversial and debatable point that many historians debate about today. And if you were in Hannibal's, if you look at this from Hannibal's position, it's reasonable why he wouldn't march on Rome at that point, because there are many possibilities. One, his army wasn't equipped for prolonged sieges. It was equipped for causing chaos. Or two, even if he was equipped for if he had been equipped for sieges, he thought that he didn't need to, due to all the devastation he's caused to Rome. So yeah.
You an idiot, Hannibal? No, I'm smart. We don't need to march on Rome, because after what we did, the Romans are definitely going to surrender. Watch. Hey, Jim Bob. Yes, sir? Go to Rome and discuss peace terms. Yes, sir. Hey, I'm here to discuss peace terms. Piss off! They told me to piss off! What? They didn't surrender? No! They were mean! Hannibal was learning that Rome had an unprecedented attitude towards surrender. Even when Hannibal offered to ransom thousands of prisoners back to Rome, a pretty common practice in ancient warfare, the Romans refused, opting to let their own men be sold into slavery rather than paying a penny to the enemy. It was clear that in order to defeat Rome, you had to annihilate them. If any Roman man was still standing, you hadn't yet won.
Yeah, I remember in his videos on the First Punic War on how that Roman poet once said, "The victor is not victorious if the vanquished does not consider himself so." So yeah.
But still, Hannibal decided not to march on Rome, and it was a controversial decision. Even one of his own commanders famously told him, "Hannibal, you know how to win a battle, but you do not know how to win a war."
Ooh.
From Hannibal's perspective, perhaps he knew his army was designed to survive behind enemy lines and sow chaos. It may not have been
Yeah, that's what I said.
well equipped to undertake a risky siege of one of the most fortified cities on Earth.
Yeah, and remember, during these times, sieges don't take days. They take months, if not years. Take Leningrad or Stalingrad, for example. I don't know which one was it, but I think it was Leningrad. Yeah, the siege lasted for how many years? So yeah.
Plus, with many of the southern cities defecting to his side after Cannae, Hannibal likely thought things were going pretty well. As is. We'll stay the course. Okay, so the Romans didn't surrender after 3 major defeats. But surely they'll surrender after 4.
Help build the cycle of strength. Give ensure gold with Strength Pro.
Unfortunately for Hannibal, however, after Cannae, the Romans well and truly learnt their lesson. Well, would you look at that? Remind me, who was it that said Hannibal was too dangerous to fight? You. And who said we shouldn't fight him directly? You. And who tried to fight him directly? Us. And what happened? We lost 20% of our military-aged men. That?
I know that doesn't sound. I know that sounds pretty minuscule, but think about. Let's say we had a military-aged male population of 1 million. 20% of that, so 200,000 people, deaths. Deaths. Even in today's standards, that would be devastating.
That's right. So tell me, when Hannibal approaches, what do? We run away. I'm a genius. Clap for me. After Cannae, Fabius Maximus kind of became the unofficial leader of Rome. Even if others were elected consul, his influence was unparalleled, and Rome quickly reverted to the Fabian strategy of avoiding Hannibal. They knew they couldn't defeat him, so instead, they hoped they could at least contain him. They raised an impressively large number of men, partly by enlisting teenagers, slaves, and criminals. And rather than trying to fight Hannibal, they instead turned their attention towards those treacherous southern cities that had switched sides. Thanks for joining the winning team, guys. Here's the deal. All you have to do is provide me some troops and defend your own city, since I'll be too busy to defend it for you. Now, I'm going to briefly turn around, look this way, and when I look back, you better not be being massacred by the Romans. Oh, for goodness sake! The Romans spread out their newly formed legions and began attacking the southern cities here, there, everywhere. The southern cities expected to have Hannibal's protection, and Hannibal was inundated with requests for help. He was forced to run around southern Italy, trying to encourage defection while rescuing his own allies. But when he showed up...
Yeah, to put in perspective, think of it as Hannibal's Vietnam.
The Romans would often leave, only to come back the second he went away again. And as these southern cities found themselves being punished severely by the Romans, they began to realize that joining Hannibal may not have been such a good idea. Hey! You think you're so big? Attacking my allies? Why don't you come out and face me? Because you're scary! The fickle southern cities frequently switched sides depending on who appeared to be winning, and the whole situation became a nightmare for Hannibal to control, playing a constant game of Roman whack-a-mole to fend off the enemy armies. Having not long ago seemed near extinction, the Romans had managed to turn the situation around by placing Hannibal in a clever predicament. If he left southern Italy, the southern cities would likely capitulate to Rome, meaning he couldn't leave.
Yeah, and remember, not too long ago, Rome hadn't unified all of the Italian peninsula yet. For the most part, it had been a bunch of city-states, kind of like medieval Italy. But yeah.
Since the Romans wouldn't fight him, he couldn't inflict any more dangerous defeats. For now, Hannibal had been muzzled. Southern Italy had been his prize for his impressive Italian campaign. But those clever Romans found a way to take his prize and turn it into his prison. With the Fabian strategy neutralizing Hannibal for now, the Romans were freed up to refocus their attention to other fronts. This whole time, while we've been discussing Hannibal and the Italian campaign of the Second Punic War, fighting had actually been occurring elsewhere. For example, in 216 BC, the Romans had sent an army north to punish the Celtic tribes that had joined Hannibal. However, as the Romans entered the Latana forest, little did they know those clever Celts had set up a trap. The Celts dropped trees on them, decimating the Romans, and they even took the commander's head to use as a religious sepulchre.
Wait, what?
So that went pretty bad. Whoa.
Whoa.
Bad. But thankfully,
Yeah.
in other theaters, things were going a bit better. For example, let's look at Sicily. After Cannae, internal chaos in Syracuse caused this longtime Roman ally to switch sides, because being a winner is more fun. The Carthaginians also landed troops, hoping to retake their lost island, while Roman proconsul Claudius Marcellus moved in to besiege Syracuse. The siege was a brutal slug for the Romans, largely due to the presence of one famous scientist and mathematician, Archimedes.
Yeah, if you watch the latest Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and Dial of Archimedes, Dial of Time, this is the battle where they time travel to at the end of the movie. A pretty good movie, I'd say. I'd give it maybe 3 stars. It's okay. I'd recommend it, but not highly.
He lived in Syracuse at the time, and he invented a variety of clever contraptions to defend the city. There was a giant claw that could grab and destroy Roman ships, and purportedly even a big mirror that could magically ignite them.
Yeah, they tried this on Mythbusters, I used to watch the show a long time ago when I was a kid, but I don't remember the results of the experiment.
The Carthaginian forces on the island attempted to come to Syracuse's rescue, but luckily for the Romans, they all got diarrhea and then died. Finally,
Ah, scheisse. That's a crappy way to go, pun intended.
in the city itself, the day of a big annual religious festival came, and the Syracusans said, "Well, fellas, we've been holding off the Romans for over a year now. I think we've earned ourselves a little party." Sir, we're still under a massive siege. Are you sure? They'll probably take advantage of it. Well, Carl, I'm taking advantage of the open bar. Sir, they've got battering rams. Well, Carl, I'm ramming these hors d'oeuvres into my mouth. Sir, they'll tear down our walls. Well, Carl, I'm tearing it up on the dance floor. Sir, they're literally at the gates. Well, Carl, I'm literally at the cheese platter.
Open bars and cheese platters are the best. I love them whenever I go to a party.
Marcellus took advantage of the drunken festivities, stormed the city, and plundering ensued. In the chaos, Marcellus ordered Archimedes be captured alive. Some sources say Roman troops entered Archimedes' home, and they were like, "Hey man, are you the math guy? Go away, I'm drawing circles. Look, I just need to know if you're the nerd. Come on bro, get out of here, you're messing up my circles." Now is not a good time to draw circles. It's always a good time for circles. I love circles. Either stop drawing the circles or I kill you. Or I choose the circles. Despite not securing Archimedes,
Yeah. So... Sorry guys, I had to check the connection. Let's continue. So I was gonna say, so yeah, when it comes to wartime and these great minds like scientists and whatnot, to put it in perspective, after World War II, many of these Nazi scientists, you know, a lot of people expected them to go to jail and be executed, but no, they were treated pretty fairly. And that's because they couldn't just kill them. They had, cause, yeah, they were scheisse. However, the Nazis, in terms of technology, were so ahead of their time, and so what they do is they wouldn't just treat these captured scientists fairly because of all the knowledge they had up there that they could use. So yeah.
the Romans did secure Sicily and also put down a Carthage-supported rebellion on nearby Sardinia. 2 Roman successes, and there were more to come. After Canna, King...
Yeah, whenever people are learning about the Second Punic War, they often only focus on Hannibal's Italian campaign. Every other, campaign is often looked over because, Hannibal's the main show. So, yeah. But still, while the Romans were getting their ass kicked on the Italian mainland, they were winning on so many other areas.
Philip V of Macedon saw an opportunity. He was concerned with recent Roman expansion into Illyria. And so, when he saw Hannibal annihilating the Romans in Italy, he said, "Oh my gosh! Hey! Oh my gosh! You're so cool! Let's form an alliance and annihilate the Romans together!" Sure. Yes! Hannibal hoped to secure Philip's help in fighting Rome. But a Roman army was sent to the region, stirred up Philip's other Greek opponents, and essentially kept Philip bogged down in Greece for the entire duration of the war.
Yeah, and think about it. This is a time when Rome was still just a regional power. It's not yet a superpower, and they're encroaching in on your territory. And you're seeing what Hannibal's doing over there. This could be your one and only chance to repel Roman excursion into your territory. So yeah.
Kind of Roman success. But the main...
Oh, come on.
It's time to with Skyflix condensada.
main front Rome was hoping to push Carthage back in was Spain. The riches of Spain made it one of Carthage's most valuable possessions, and the Romans were eager to weaken it. Remember way back at the start of the war, the consul Scipio was supposed to go to Spain, but ended up rushing back to Italy when he realized Hannibal was crossing the Alps. He then faced Hannibal at Ticinus and had to be rescued by his son. Well, after he recovered from his wounds, he proceeded with the original plan and joined his brother in Spain. There, the two Scipio brothers fought a successful campaign against Hannibal's brother, Hasdrubal.
Wahoo! It's us, Scipios! Sorry, I just had to do it.
Over the next few years, they won a number of key victories, even taking Saguntum, the city that had kick-started this entire war. Yet more Roman success. A trend appeared to be emerging. Whenever the Romans fought anyone other than Hannibal, they usually came out on top. Perhaps these other fronts would be the key to Rome taking back control of this war. Perhaps it was time for Rome to return to their old ways of being the aggressive go-getters. And perhaps it would help if Rome had a Hannibal of their own. Scipio, the younger, was the son of Publius Scipio, currently fighting in Spain. This made him a member of one of Rome's most prestigious families.
Yeah, at this point he hasn't received the title Africanus yet, but he's going to soon, and Oversimplified is gonna explain why. Yeah, sooner or later, I can tell. So I'm gonna let him tell you how.
Not much is known of his childhood, although there is one story of how he was getting hot and heavy with a young lady, only to have his dad barge in and drag him out wearing nothing but a cloak. This story was written by a Roman poet to make Scipio look bad, but by modern standards has ended up making him look pretty rad. My guess is if Rome had a high school football team, Scipio would be the quarterback.
Any Americans here here watching this video, can you answer my question in the comments? Why do you guys call this football when you barely even kick the ball with your feet? If anything, it should be tackle ball, since you tackle the other team. So yeah.
Scipio was only 18 when the Second Punic War broke out. He was at the Battle of Ticinus, where he famously rescued his father, and he was one of the survivors of the Battle of Cannae, after which he threatened to cut down any man who dared abandon Rome. He was a natural leader and up to his ears in spunk, and therefore he rose through the Roman ranks shockingly fast. We need a new military tribune, but Hannibal has killed so many men, we're running out of options. Put me in, coach! Scipio, you're only 20. You can't be a tribune. Come on, coach. Put me in. Well, you do have a lot of spunk. All right, you're hired. We need to elect a new Edom. Who do we have left? Put me in, coach. Scipio, you don't meet the minimum age requirement. I got this, coach. I got this. Well, okay then. You're in.
The thing about rules, guys, they only apply in normal circumstances. In dire situations such as these, rules are dead.
Ugh, my room's a mess. I gotta cook dinner. Oh, and would you look at that? My fly's down. Life sucks. Put me in, coach. Wow, you're so spunky. When Scipio was 25, however, he received some bad news. His father and uncle in Spain had both been defeated in battle, and shockingly, both of them were killed. The news must have been devastating for the young Scipio, but it was also devastating for Rome, as almost all of their Spanish gains were wiped away. Okay, listen up! We need someone to go and replace the Scipios in Spain. So, who's up for it? Come on, who's gonna go? Fabius, Spain seems unwinnable. There's no glory to be had there. Yeah, the glory is here, defending the homeland from Hannibal. Well, somebody has to go. I said, well, somebody has to go. Put me in, go!
Hey guys, so yeah, I had to answer a call. Okay, let's continue.
Scipio was eager to be the one to go and replace his father and uncle in Spain. However, there was concern amongst the older senators. You're only 26. You can't lead a military campaign. And you're 71. You can't stand up without your dribbling in. Scipio didn't meet the typical requirements for the position, but as the only person willing to go, this young piece of hot Roman meat was unanimously elected proconsul and sent to lead the Roman armies in Spain. He hoped to carry out a campaign as impressive as Hannibal's had been in Italy. In fact, Scipio rather admired the one-eyed general. Scipio...
Yeah, if there's one thing, the Art of War, if you remember from the Art of War, and I don't mean the memes, I mean like the actual book, I've read the book, there was one line which said something along the lines of, it's impossible not to respect your enemies, no matter who they are. So yeah, even though the Nazis, take it for example, though the Nazis were awful as scheisse, you can't deny that, you know, their uniforms, their equipment, and whatnot were pretty cool. So yeah, you can't deny that.
You've got a Hannibal poster in your room. Yes, but he's the enemy. I'll let you in on a secret, Billy. You know how we're gonna win this war? By marching straight at the enemy? No, that's the old way. We've gotta be less Roman and a little more Hannibal. Hey, by the way, don't just barge into my room. That's an infringement of my privacy. Privacy? Privacy, you say? Well, Scipio, if it's privacy you... Deal. So, Hannibal contained a young piece of hot Roman meat sent to lead the Roman armies in Spain. Scipio was charismatic, extremely confident, bold, and probably most importantly of all, he thought differently from other Roman generals. So, Skippy, what's the plan? Don't call me that. We're Roman, so same thing as usual, right? We march straight at the enemy, right? Get this, Billy. No, we don't. Scipio was a real outside-the-box thinker. There were three main Carthaginian armies in Spain, two led by Hannibal's brothers, Hasdrubal and Mago, and another led by Hasdrubal Gisco. Most Roman generals might have looked at these armies and said, I just gotta, you know, march straight at these guys and kick their ass and stuff. But not Scipio. At a time when many believed winning battles won wars, one of Scipio's greatest strengths was an ability to see the overall strategy behind his actions. He knew that Spain was the closest thing Hannibal had to a base of support. With its mass resources and manpower, it's where Hannibal likely hoped to get supplies and reinforcements from. Spain?
Yeah, because remember the reason why Hannibal and his father decided to even go to Spain, to help Carthage economically recover because of all those silver mines. Spain is basically Hannibal's moneymaker, and all those silver mines is what's helping him fund the war.
In space of support was the city of New Carthage, the most fortified city on the peninsula, perfectly positioned to communicate with and receive supplies from Africa. And so, if Scipio managed to take New Carthage, he could take Spain. And if he took Spain, then maybe Hannibal would fall to...
Oh, come on.
Scipio, Spain wasn't just some sideshow. It was the main show, and it all rested on New Carthage. But a surprise attack on Carthage's capital city in Spain? It was a ridiculous idea. Even if you pull off the 7-day forced march past the Carthaginian armies to New Carthage. Once you get there, you'd only have a couple weeks to take the city before the Carthaginians arrived to kick your ass.
Yeah, and like I said before, sieges occur in months, months if not years, not days.
Sieges of cities that fortified usually took months, if not years. So, Scipio, how are you going to pull this off? Well, first of all, to make sure the surprise plan stayed hidden, Scipio kept it a total secret, even from his own men. Where are we going, Skippy? I'm not telling you. Is it Disneyland? I'm not telling you. I think that means we're going to Disneyland.
let me tell you something, guys. Don't go to Disneyland. It's a freaking tourist trap. If let's say you're going to Tokyo or Florida Disneyland, don't go to Disneyland, okay? Just spend your money and time looking and experiencing the actual sites that Florida and Tokyo has to offer. When I went to Tokyo Disneyland, I didn't even get to go on many rides. I only got to go on like what, 2, maybe 3 rides. So yeah, just go and experience the sites, okay? Don't go on the amusement parks.
This secrecy kept the Carthaginians from preemptively reinforcing the city. As a result, New Carthage was left under garrisoned, because the Carthaginians believed it to be kind of naturally impenetrable. It was surrounded on 3 sides by a lagoon, and only accessible via a narrow isthmus. What's an isthmus, you ask? Maybe read a book. Alright, Scipio, you made it to New Carthage. Now the other Carthaginian armies are only a 10 days march from coming and kicking your ass. Just what were you thinking? Well, Scipio had learned something crucial. Every afternoon, the tides made the lagoon around New Carthage briefly shallow enough to cross. So, he ordered a large diversionary attack on the main city gates, distracting the city's defenders. Then, a small infiltration force traversed the lagoon, climbed the unguarded northern walls, and entered the city. They ambushed the guards and opened the city gates to the rest of Scipio's army. And just like that, New Carthage had fallen. In a single day,
Wait, what?
Scipio had taken Carthage's capital city in Spain.
Wow, I knew about the fact he was able to take New Carthage quicker than expected, but wow, that's really quicker than expected.
And he made it look easy. With it, he seized much of Carthage's war supplies, several silver mines near the city, and various powerful Iberian tribes even joined his side. And now he was in a great position to take on the other Carthaginian armies in Spain. Wow, Skippy, you're amazing. Don't call me that. How'd you know the lagoon would get shallow? It's almost like you speak to the gods. No. I told him. All the local farmers know about the yes, that's it. I speak to the gods.
Yeah, one thing about being a politician, the one thing you must know how to do is how to lie effectively. Because in the world of politics, there are 2 types of truths. The truth that's gonna make people love and support you. Then there's the truth that's gonna make people go meh or I hate you. I'm gonna rebel against you. So if you only have the bad truth, have to find a way to make the bad truth seem like good truth. So yeah. I know it seems sad and it's corrupt, but hey, that's how politics work.
Scipio had no problem allowing his men to think he was divinely inspired. Roman writers also tell us another of Scipio's traits. He was apparently quite merciful in victory, and often protected the inhabitants of captured cities.
And why is this noteworthy? Because remember, this ancient times, the very concept of human rights was non-existent. So, yeah, and the standard procedure is, if you were to put a city under siege or whatnot, if they surrendered without a fight, they would be treated pretty fairly, or so long as they agreed to the terms. However, if you were to give any form of resistance and you lost, well, yeah, you can expect a bloodbath on your hands. So the fact, rare occasions of mercy like this are absolutely stunning.
Spencer, what are you doing? Well, I was just about to murder this family. Hey, bad Spencer! No! Can I at least kill the dad? No! What about the... No! Oh, you're mean! The Carthaginian generals in the region must have been shocked at the loss of their capital city. There was now a Terminator in Spain, and he was coming. In 208 BC, he made a move on Hasdrubal. hoping to defeat him before the other Carthaginian armies could come and link up. When Hasdrubal heard Scipio was coming, he said, Hasdrubal did the sensible thing and climbed a big hill for safety. Hey! Get down here! I want to kill you! Fat chance, Vin Diesel! Well, he doesn't have to be rude. So what's the plan then, Scipio? This time, we march straight up and at him. Right? Right, Scipio? Billy? No. Scipio once again displayed a distinctly not...
After Oversimplified talks about this battle, I'm probably gonna end it here. Because it's already past 9. I'm really tired and it's so hot. So yeah, I'll probably continue this tomorrow night.
Roman approach to fighting, when instead of marching straight up and at him, Scipio feigned a frontal skirmish, only to pull off a surprise uphill envelopment. Not an easy thing to do, but Scipio had trained his army to pull off maneuvers that typical Roman armies couldn't. After the battle, the defeated Hasdrubal fled Spain, hoping to link up with his brother Hannibal in Italy. And Hannibal desperately needed the help. As Scipio was dominating in Spain, Hannibal's struggles in southern Italy continued. He was convinced that if he just received ample supplies and reinforcements, he could reverse his fortunes and get back to kicking Rome's ass. But for the remainder of the war, he would suffer a frustrating lack of support from the Carthaginian Senate. After Cannae, Hannibal had sent his brother Mago to Carthage, where he famously poured out golden rings taken from fallen Roman knights. He told the Senate that with reinforcements, Hannibal could finish the job. But a growing faction in the Senate, possibly jealous of Hannibal's rising influence, opposed sending any help.
Yeah, that's politics and bureaucracy for you, honestly. As frustrating as it is, it's not really surprising.
In the end, a large number of the reinforcements gathered for Hannibal now ended up being diverted to stop Scipio in Spain. Just as he had hoped, Scipio's campaign in Spain was actively harming Hannibal in Italy. However, those reinforcements meant that when Scipio made a move on the remaining Carthaginian armies in Spain, they now likely outnumbered him. With the odds heavily stacked against him, it would take some serious skill to win this battle. This time we're gonna march straight at them, right? No, Billy! Ooh. The preceding Battle of Ilipa is often considered Scipio's masterpiece because it was positively oozing with deception and trickery. First, both sides spent several days forming up and facing off without actually fighting. On each day, Scipio placed his strongest Roman legions in the center with his weaker Iberian allies on the sides. Seeing this, the Carthaginians were like, "This guy's an idiot. We've seen his plan. His strongest troops are going to be in the center, so let's form all of our battle plans based on this information. I'm sure he won't change anything at the last minute." Then, when the day of battle came, Scipio woke up the Carthaginians with an early morning attack, causing them to rush out of camp without breakfast. When the Carthaginians lined up with their strongest troops in the center to meet Scipio's, they were stunned to find that Scipio had completely reversed his order. The weaker Carthaginians...
Yep. Do you know what's just as important and crucial than making sure the enemy doesn't get information? It's purposely giving them false information and making them think it's true.
Sides now found Scipio's strongest bearing down on them. Then, in an extremely impressive maneuver, the well-trained Roman wings even stretched out during their approach, hitting the Carthaginians from the sides. The Carthaginian center could have turned to help, but Scipio had ordered his center to approach so slowly that Carthage's center could do nothing but just stand and wait. In this way, the outnumbered Scipio had...
Damn. Imagine being in that situation. You're surrounded by enemy soldiers. You want to help, however, there's more enemy soldiers coming at you. However, they're doing it so slowly, but that by the time the enemy does get to you, you're gonna be surrounded sooner or later.
Had cleverly controlled events so that the bulk of the strongest Carthaginian troops couldn't even fight during the battle. He had completely removed them from the equation. The incredible Scipio had inflicted a monumental defeat on a much larger enemy force, and the Battle of Ilipa was the final nail in the coffin for Carthaginian Spain. Yet more tribespeople continued to side with the Romans, and the remaining Carthaginians retreated to the coast and eventually fled the peninsula. And would you look at that? In just a few years, the incredible young Scipio had turned Spain completely red. The Carthaginians must have been stunned. His Spanish campaign had almost been as impressive as Hannibal's campaign in Italy. In fact, see if any of this sounds familiar. In Spain, Scipio had used the environment of the battlefield to his advantage. He staged ambushes by concealed troops. He treated local tribespeople well, earning their friendship. He even once forced his enemy to come out and fight him without breakfast. Each and every one of these tactics were possibly borrowed from a certain one-eyed general. In all the battles Scipio had fought against Hannibal.
Yeah, call him a copycat, but remember, this is what the Romans are good at. Copying their enemies and adapting and innovating.
It seemed he may have been taking notes.
Hey! Scipio!
What?
Stop stealing my tactics!
I'm 700 miles away. I can't hear you.
What did you say?
What?
What?
Better yet, Scipio's achievement in taking a well-fortified city, plus his understanding of the overall strategy, has led some historians to argue he wasn't just as good as Hannibal. Scipio may actually have been better. This young man, who many in Rome had doubted, had just shut those silly billies, right, the flip-up, mere years.
Okay, so I'm gonna end it here at this timestamp. Okay, 29 minutes. Okay, so yeah, I'm really tired and it's so hot, so yeah, I'll release part 2 tomorrow night. Alright, you know the drill, like, subscribe, links down below to OG video and also my Facebook page, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!